Welcome back. This video is for you, AB. I'm going to react to your videos, but I'm going to provide a lot of commentary here. I've put it on 1.5. AB, you uploaded 2 videos. The first video got a lot of negative reactions, I think. So you uploaded the second one. I've been following Anthony from Do Not Worry. I know about all the beef. I've made a couple of videos about this. So I'm going to quickly talk about this.
Oh, hello. I have a few updates for you guys. And also, there's a few things I want to get off my chest.
Let me see. There's one thing that jumps out here where he said, like, you make us look like barbaric Arabs. But let's go to the clip, right? And then we'll watch your second video more in detail.
People love better.
So first of all, Lena pulled out of the fight because of pressure from Ethan and Ela. Like, we're not crazy, AB. Lena, we're not crazy, right? We've seen the clip where Ethan and Ela are pressuring you to get out of that fight. I know Ethan has paid like a sum of money for this to happen, but Ian doesn't want you to not fight. You can still fight. Ian didn't make a content cop about AB or Lena. Made a content cop about Ethan. You trained for this fight. You should fight, right? Your opponent has trained as well and now has no fighter. You do realize that even though most people are not watching the H3 podcast, we're seeing the clips. We can see how Ethan is saying, oh, how can Ian do this? Ian pulled out, right? Ian and Anissa are not connected to the event anymore. What do you want? Yeah, they have beef with your boss. Who cares? You can still fight. It's a charity event. You want to fight. You even have a dog named Boxer. Or what is it? Rocky? So every time you call the name of the dog, you just remember training for a fight that never happened. Ethan and Hila, I heard them say, correct me if I'm wrong, I heard them say, if you get shit from our community, you can't blame me. I mean, obviously they hate Ian. I'm spelling it out, right? For people that do not understand. He has beef with Ian and Anissa. They're connected to the event, not anymore, because Ian uploaded the second video. And he kind of thinks that you can't blame people for being upset with you guys if you still fight. That's how he kind of positioned it, right? You guys do realize, your crew members of the H3 podcast, you've been a crew member for years, you do realize that if Ethan says nobody's going to bother Lena, let her fight, I don't care, it's a separate thing, wish her luck, watch the event, it's a charity event. You know that Ethan can just tell them to stand back and stand by, right? So, yeah, her pulling out of the fight was not really something she wanted, was not what you wanted. It's kind of a sign of something, right?
Very scary. Boxing's very scary, and she was giving it her all. And she looked awesome.
I've boxed for really 1.5 years. No matches, just training.
Punch in the face, but she was doing so well. I wish people could have seen her fight. It just sucks. I feel like Lena's always getting the short end of the stick when it comes to stuff.
There was no need for her to get the short end of the stick here. She's been training to fight.
I've known her. She's last practice together.
I have a lot to share with you, my dude.
Spot for me. But
let's keep going. So here.
Remind off of shit. We're getting
when you keep calling him Millhouse, you are kind of disrespecting him, right? Like, I know a lot of people like Millhouse is pretty cool, pretty funny, kind of a meme. Okay, Ethan is calling him Millhouse. If you want to be nice towards each other, just like, don't call him Millhouse. Just call him Anthony, right? He'll call you AB, and now he's calling you Abdullah, and like people are calling you Abdullah, which is I think your name, instead of AB, to make a point. Let's listen to Anthony.
You like that money, AB? You like the fucking paycheck, AB? Fucking pussy.
By white dudes who...
I've watched that live. He is upset with you. Why is he so upset with you? Not necessarily because of things you have said. It's mostly because of you remaining quiet and working for a podcast that he considers to be really bad, and where I do agree with him. But I will give you the reasoning why. So you're clipping a part where he's just really upset. Yeah, people should try to control their anger. Calling names, not really mature. Regardless, the context is missing, right? It's like what Ethan does a lot, like looking at clips about Hassan in the content nuke, where Hassan was saying, "I don't care if they have been raped on that day. Doesn't matter." Like he clips stuff out of context, and you're doing the same thing here, because he was upset for a reason. It's kind of childish to then zoom in on the part where he's just really, really upset.
Who, for some reason, feel they have the authority to say that we're a disappointment to other Arabs.
AB is such a fuss. You are, and this is no exaggeration, literally selling out your own people. That's sad.
I'm, of course, talking about Mike.
You're selling out your own people, he said. And you said, look at this white dude telling me I'm selling out. I'm not a white dude, right? I'm from the Middle East. So I think it's ridiculous that I have to say this. I don't have to say this. Doesn't matter. Regardless. People can criticize you regardless of what their ethnicity is. And if you're really mature about it, then you just respond to the critique and just respond to the claims. If it's ridiculous based on nothing, you should easily be able to tackle all of these videos. They have a lot of viewers, like I'm watching their content, right? And I actually like the Do Not Worry podcast. Like outside of the beef, there's a lot of stuff there. I've learned a lot about Lebanon, which is nice. The crew is pretty nice. And it's unfortunate that it has ended up like this, right? But like there's a lot of people that actually liked you, that have now moved to other podcasts, that are listening to them. Like that's why there is a song with "Thank You, Ethan Klein," why Ian is dancing to that song in his last video. So I get that you're upset when people tell you you're a sellout.
From PA.
I think this will come up a bit more in the second video you uploaded. I'm going to say great job on the second video, even though I don't agree with a lot of stuff you say. You say a couple of things that are super important, that make it easier for me to explain all of this.
Which I always thought was Philadelphia, but I guess maybe it's Palestine. Mike from Palestine. That's what he thinks.
Obviously, Mike from PA. PA is like the abbreviation for Pennsylvania, right? Come on, dude. But you're making a joke about Palestine. Mike, just watching some clips, longer videos, him reacting to stuff. I've seen him react to stuff related to H3. I don't think he's just doing it for the views. I think he's really upset. I'm upset. Almost the entire world is really upset. Because there's a genocide going on right now, AB. I know you know, but we need to talk about that podcast that you're part of. And you're not working only backstage. You get to talk sometimes. I've seen Ian speak loudly at you when the button didn't work. Like, I'm familiar with the context. I'm going to be as charitable as I can be. I don't want to make this video too long, but let's keep going.
We have people changing the information on my wiki.
That's messed up.
Holidays.
Yeah, so when you were in college, you wanted the Palestine flag to be there. People are lying and saying you wanted it to be removed. Sorry, there's a lot of wind here. You wanted it to be removed, but you didn't actually. Nice. Yeah, it's kind of stupid for people to say that. Yeah.
And again,
you are zooming on like the dumb stuff, right? Like I know maybe this is not dumb to you, because like it's messed up that they're lying about something positive and turning it into a negative. But there's a lot of valid negative feedback there as well that you're ignoring. Right? You kind of talk about it in the second video, so let's keep going.
This dude was saying, really nasty shit.
The fucking paycheck, AB? Fucking pussy. There's
a mix of things going on here. People are trying to frame it like.
Again, someone has translated it into something else, which is not true. Like, nobody cares about Anthony/Millhouse getting really upset because he's in Lebanon. Like, when we watch his stream, we can see the lights go off occasionally. There's like jets flying over his house, right? Anthony is pissed the fuck off. Yeah, my dude. I don't live in Lebanon. I'm not at risk of being bombed. At least I hope not. But people are really pissed because there's no stop. It doesn't stop. So obviously people are very critical of other like creators that have a huge stage, a lot of people watching them. So when they spread misinformation, the people get upset. And you're aligned with that. You're like connected to that. You're part of the production team, but also not on the background. You occasionally talk.
That extreme.
So let's
My mom.
this
Wants to prove.
it's not about this at all. Like nobody cares about this stuff, AB. You know, Anthony, if you go to Anthony and say, hey, Anthony, kind of messed up. You were kind of mean. You know how he will respond? Like, yeah, bro. I think I was a little bit too mean. I think he already kind of said that in another stream as well. So this is not, like, the question is, why is he pissed off?
You're away from that narrative.
It's because of what H3 is putting out with the podcast.
You're welcome. Then there's people saying, oh, and I bet AB will still delete people on
This is all
Reddit.
nothing
Until
durable.
I got this job that he was proud of me. My father is disappointed in me. My friends and family are disappointed in me, and I'm not allowed to go back.
Let me go back.
And, you know, Mike from PA, my fave, Habib and Mike from PA, they've come up with this
Probably on the tier list, he would be somewhere at the top, right? He's like, he can ask for permission to say Habibi.
narrative that my father is disappointed in me. My friends and family are disappointed in me, and I'm not allowed to go back to Dearborn because I'm shunned. Few things. My father has been disappointed in me my whole life. It wasn't.
That is messed up, man. That is messed up. Yeah. No, it doesn't sound like a cool dude. Unless he had a lot of reasons to be disappointed, but even then, like, continuously being disappointed. You don't seem that much of a bad guy, right? You seem like a normal guy. So I'm sorry you've experienced that. And when you say the one moment where he wasn't disappointed is when I got this job.
I got this job that he was proud of me. One.
So you got this job, but a lot has happened since you got this job. A lot of statements have been brought out. October 7 happened. Lots of propaganda, misinformation. People getting 30-day bans. We'll talk about all of that stuff. So the fact that he's proud that you joined at that moment, great. Is he familiar with all the stuff H3 is saying? Nobody's trying to reach them, right? And send them messages or whatever, as far as I know. But if he actually looks into it, like, what is this H3 thing about? Like, let me watch this debate between Hassan. Like, maybe ask him to watch the debate between Hassan and Ethan and ask him what he thinks. When Ethan says, fucking Arabs. Who did it? The fucking Arabs, he said. Kind of mask off moment there. That's why people are now extra pissed off at you. Because you're an Arab and you're sitting there and he's saying that. Hassan is not an Arab. You're the only Arab there at that moment, as far as I know. And you have the option to chime in, to unmute and say something. All right? We'll talk about this more in the second video.
Okay. I find it hilarious, the whole thing about me losing friends and family. I wish.
This part jumps out to me.
Honestly, if there's any good that could come out of these people trying to harass me and just
If there's any good that can come out of these people trying to harass me,
context and posting.
take shots out of context. All right? I'll talk about stuff that I think is not without context. I'll provide the context. No clips, because you're familiar with everything I'm going to share with you.
All these clips about me. God, please, let me lose some friends. Let me lose even some family
There is valid criticism, AB. And you're saying, let me lose some friends, let me lose some family.
members. Please have them cut me off. Other Khalid. I cannot tell you how big
It's easy, huh? Just cut them off.
both of our families are.
Maybe people care about you, and they kind of are disappointed. That's like... So if someone is like... Someone cares about you, hypothetical, and they're disappointed because of something you're doing or whatever, your response is immediately to say, cut them off. That's kind of weird. Do you want them to organize an intervention, maybe?
I cannot tell you how many friends we have and how many friends get mad at us every time we go home because they're having kids, they're getting married. We didn't have a chance to go to their wedding. We didn't have a chance to meet their kids yet.
You're like this is just a lot of stuff on top of each other, right? Friends are unhappy with you guys, right? You're both part of the H3 crew, where Ethan and Ela has been saying some stuff that's kind of unacceptable. Have been shown some receipts that they're kind of ignoring. They don't know how to handle critique. We'll talk about that more later, AB. But yeah, you're mentioning a lot of
God
stuff.
bless.
I
I
want to
have
move on.
blocked advocates for Palestine. A little bit.
Now, misinformation about him posting again, like these small, minor details. That's not what it's about. What is all of that about? Why is all of that happening, AB? Why are people upset? Why aren't you actually talking about that stuff? And in the second video, you do to a degree. So let's see. I've only seen the first half of the second
Every
video.
stream
Let's go.
was about Palestine.
So yes, you do stream outside of H3 Podcast. I'm hearing that you get around 40 viewers or something. So it's kind of different, right? When you're working on the podcast, which is getting hundreds of thousands, if not millions of views, spreading misinformation. And let me talk about this when we watch the second video, right? Then it will become more relevant. For you to stream about Palestine, tweet about Palestine, stuff that will not be brought up during the podcast. Yeah, I mean, I can put a flag sticker on my car and just, and then do horrible stuff with the car. Like, you know what I mean? Is it virtual signaling? No. You have full freedom to stream. You can talk about that stuff. They allow you to talk about that stuff, but clearly they're not really allowing you to be very critical of that stuff. And it is directly impacting other creators, Arab creators as well.
It wasn't a nuanced take about, well, hear this out here. No. Even if you understand the point, I was
Nothing,
trying
Burger.
to make up fucking shit. You can, but please, do not use the suffering in Gaza as your excuse to do that. Thank you. I'd like to say that
Let's go back.
that is completely fine. But do not try to say I'm not based on where I work. That's fine. That's fine. That is completely me.
Go
This
back a bit.
organizations I've been involved in, am involved in, times I've donated, but I don't have to do that. If you don't believe me, don't believe me. If
It's not about believing that you're doing something outside of the H3 podcast, AB. It's about what you're doing or not doing within the podcast. It's not that difficult. You're deflecting. You're redirecting. It's not about, in general, how active you are. It's about how much harm the podcast is doing, and you're part of that podcast. Not backstage, you have a microphone. So you can actually chime in. But I get that if you are too critical, that they probably will kick you out of the podcast. So we'll talk about that with the second
you
video.
want to make excuse to do that.
But it's not about the suffering, to use the suffering in Gaza as an excuse.
You can, but please, do not use.
If you don't believe me, don't use the suffering in Gaza as an excuse to claim that you don't, like, dude, it does not make any sense.
that.
Maybe I'm
doing
skipping
okay
too
with
much
friends,
and I'm
but
not...
Some are like have bad luck.
Yeah, so you
I've
bought a
been
dog
wanting-
for your girlfriend or a wife. Okay, so we're going to the second video. And this second video is interesting because 2 hours ago you uploaded it. This is the video that I really want to react to. And now I will talk about the stuff. Because I'm like the Oracle. I'm like all-knowing. Trust me. I have quite an extensive view of all of this stuff.
I was initially not going to respond to any of this, but now that I got backup, I got Rocky with me. Say hi, Rocky. I'm ready to go. Thank you guys for all the love in the last video. It means so much. I want to make a little follow-up because
I have watched the H3 podcast during the debate with Hassan, where Ethan was a bit immature. Hassan is boring, Hassan. Hassan, this is just boring, Hassan. Come on, Hassan. You're going to bore us? This is so boring. Not being willing to play that video from Hassan. Saying the sort, I agree it's not a swastika. You agree it's not a swastika, but come on, dude, it's quite literally a swastika. I'm the legend, putting his feet on his desk and then the water falling. I watched that podcast and I could see that 99% of the people in the, like 99.999% of the people in that chat were just praising Ethan and talking bad about Hassan. Which is fine. But yeah, you have a part of that audience that is coming to your channel and giving you positive feedback. They are supporters of the H3 podcast. Are they criticizing Ethan to any degree? These same people. No, nobody is criticizing him really in the chat during the streams. I see some reflection in the comments on YouTube, but it's kind of easy to delete YouTube comments, right, that are too critical of you, even if it's coming from members. I don't have any evidence of that, but when it's leaving a comment on a video, you're not automatically expecting engagement. So you move away, you do some other stuff, you forget you even commented the thing, right? You get some notifications, and then even finding the comment is not that easy, you know? So it's not surprising that you have people defending you. Under the other video, there were some interesting comments there. I'm not going to read all of them. I've seen some people saying that they are critical of you because of what, like they're very nuanced, and they got pushback from the people that are cheering you on and saying, hey, you've not done anything wrong. You are perfect. I know that within the chat, some people are like, as soon as you talk, they're like, why is AB still talking? And then other people step in to defend AB. So I do believe that there are people in the H3 community that really like you and support you, and that get upset if people are being nasty to you. I do believe that. But are they critical of the stuff that Ethan has said? Are they aware of the actual stuff? I don't think so. Because if they were, they probably would have a very hard time watching the podcast. They're not just there for you, AB. You know that as well. So how many comments? 600 comments. Are you getting 600 viewers when you're going to stream? Like, no. Especially if Ethan is streaming, they'll just watch Ethan. And then they might forget about you. But that's not speculate about that stuff. But like, I'm aware of that. There are people that like you, but they're also very much fans of Ethan and Ela.
I woke up this morning. I was sleeping next to this beautiful pup right here.
Before I even start this video, I'm going to maybe summarize what I get from the critique. 7 years ago, Ela said that she got bored with her desk job and asked for a different job, and they give another job to you at random. Like, while I'm talking, you know exactly what I mean. I know you don't like Bad Empanada, but we've seen the clip. The podcast thing is actually up. Ela talks about her time in the army. Got bored, give me another job. If that would be boring, I would try to get out. You can actually get out of those things, right? She says my parents didn't have the money to really buy me out and stuff. But she did say I will find a way to get out. When you refuse to serve, it's like 6 months, 3 to 6 months. When you serve, it's 3 years. She got put at a base in occupied territory, Ramallah. She got bored there again and asked to join one of the nightly raids. She mentioned that these were nightly raids, so every night there was a raid. During the debate with Hassan, Ethan said that guy might have murdered someone. Yeah, every night they have to raid because someone murdered someone. Every day there was a murder. That does not compute, my friend. It does not, right? Ramallah, Ethan called it terrorist city. It's a Palestinian city, occupied territory, called it a terrorist city. The base is there in occupied territory after the Oslo Accords and stuff like that. I'm not a super expert, but I'm aware of these facts. Went on the raid, went inside. Ethan lied about her not actually getting out of the car. We have seen it. Everyone can check it. She did step out of the car. She joined one of the nightly raids, right? And then Ethan also asked, did you bring it into the car? Calling a Palestinian an it is kind of messed up. One of the receipts. Yoav Golav is a very good guy. And then she apologized. I don't really call that an apology. When you say he's a really good guy, and then you claim in your apology that you were trying to show frustration with Bibi Netanyahu, who you do consider to be very devilish, right? You hate the guy, right? So you don't express frustration with person A by saying person B is a really good guy. That's not how it works. That's not an accident. The question is if she was aware of those statements that he made about putting it under siege, no food, no water, no electricity, we are dealing with human animals. People got upset. That's why the apology came the next day. She kind of realized that she made a boo-boo. You realized that that was quite a bad boo-boo. I don't know if you helped them, advised them with anything, but it's kind of weird to say that by accident, right? And the apology was really not great. I think the apology of the ukulele girl was kind of better, to be very honest. Toxic gossip train. I'm very honest. So that's not everything. Remember when you quoted Giuliani saying Palestinian 2-year-olds learn how to kill Americans? And you laughed because it's hilarious because Rudy Giuliani is a weirdo, right? He's a weirdo. Remember when he was like, the ink was like falling on his face? Remember how we laughed about that, AB? Hey, you remember? Yeah. We all remember, right? So when you quoted him, Ila said, Ethan first said, that's a spicy statement, spicy take. So Ethan was aware. Ila said, I mean, we are not stupid, AB. You are not an idiot, right? We know that it was a reaction to that statement you gave from Giuliani. So, I mean, it's not weird for people to think. She's probably not thinking about them killing Americans, right? Palestinians killing Americans. She's probably, and that's what Baden Penada said as well in his video, which you might not watch because you think he's an asshole. He has the receipts, my dude. So, yeah, we kind of assume then that she's talking about Palestinians learning to kill Israelis at the year of 2, which you also probably agree is a dumb statement. Even Ethan agrees it's a dumb statement. I mean, do you remember watching, you were in the studio, right, when she was trying to wave it away by saying there were multiple conversations going on? There were not multiple conversations going on. When I ask you to remember that exact moment when she went, I mean, you probably remember exactly what thought came into your head. Like, this shit, this will come back to us. Like, yeah, they're clipping that. Because you're not an idiot. Ethan is not an idiot. Hila, no comment. So, yeah, I mean, having no control of these type of expressions because you're like, let me fill the void. Like, obviously you have more interesting stuff to say than she has, right? Let's be honest. The entire crew probably has more interesting stuff to say than she has. She's, yeah, the wife of Ethan. She made the clothing stuff. There's a great video about Ila, by the way. It dropped yesterday, I think. It's amazing. 1 hour long. Yeah. So, yeah, that's kind of messed up. Right? Ethan saying, hey, they built tunnels under hospitals, and you know that they use that as an excuse to bomb hospitals, of which there are there's no hospital left, right? Like, they bombed everything. All the universities. Do you watch the Electronic Intifada? Did you see that interview with the one guy who said, like, if they try to get me, I'm a professor and I only have a marker, that's the most dangerous thing I have in my house, and if they try to kill me, I will throw it at them. Still makes me tear up when I hear him talk. Yeah, you probably follow a lot of that stuff as well, right? You're an Arab, I'm not an Arab. I'm from the Middle East. Doesn't matter where you're from. There's people, also white people, from around the world that are really fed up. that are really pissed off, tired. And then Hila and Ethan making fun of people that vote Jill Stein, lying about Hassan voting Jill Stein or telling people to vote Jill Stein. He hates Jill Stein. He's a Democrat at the end of the day, platforming AOC, who lied about Harris and Biden pushing for a ceasefire, right? Based on the Channel 13 reporting from Israel, which is interesting. Getting a lot of likes on the video, my dude. You're done. You're not listening to feedback anymore, like you did. You want me to go on? Because everything I'm saying, you probably know already. You've seen it all happen live. Right? So making fun of people that can't vote Kamala Harris because of her complicity. Not one Palestinian voice on the DNC on the stage. You know that, right? Did you see the footage of that woman outside of DNC twerking to the beat of the protesters drumming? Protesting the genocide. And she was like twerking on it. Did you see that one? Did you see the footage in the DNC? I can't blame you for what happened at the DNC, but like, did you see the footage of the guy with the sign hitting the person that had like stop genocide? Was hitting her on the head with his sign, or how they scrambled to block the signs so it's not visible on the cameras. Not a single voice, right? So I think Abdullah or AB, you understand why some people can't vote Kamala. Do you remember them making fun of this? Like, what idiots? You think Trump is going to be good? You think Kamala is not going to be better than Trump? I'm not as good as Anthony in doing her voice. But like, both of them. Right? Both of them made fun. Do you remember when they made fun of the people that donated like $2.6 million for like the Palestinian Fund or something? What's that going to do? What's that going to do? Look at these guys. Remember that time they were making fun of Matt Leap for talking at a protest and saying like, I'm proud to stand here for Jews and Gentiles. We're all, just a positive message and one small joke, because he is in fact a comedian, something Ethan is not. Well, he has claimed to be a comedian and also denied it as well. Making fun of Matt Leap, he should be fired because he talked to like Bad Empanada. There's just so many stuff going through my head about the messed up things that they have said. During the debate with Hassan, the fucking Arabs, like that kind of was mask off. Right? Let's talk about the tier list. You probably know, you're allowed to say Habibi. You're an Arab, right? So you're like S tier. You know it's not a racist tier list, right? You know it's not anti-Semitic. If it's racist, then how is it racist towards Denims, who was also in the F tier but also on the panel? Why was Denims okay with being labeled as worse, not as good as Arabs? Like, it's the opposite of Arabs, so you're at the bottom. Like, Denims was there in the F tier. Denims is not Jewish. I don't know if she's a Semite. She could be. But like, it's not anti-Jews to be in the bottom tier, right? Is it anti-Zionist? No. Is Denims a Zionist? No. So it's not anti-Zionist. It's not anti-Israeli, because Denims is not an Israeli. It's not anti-Jewish, because Denims is not Jewish. There was a Jewish person on the panel as well, right? I know that a lot of people, outsiders that watch this, they just believe Ethan that it's like a racist tier list. It's not. You could say, I don't like tier lists, so let me be honest about that. I think it's a stupid tier list. I don't think it's that funny. The Sabra hummus, could it be linked to like the fact that it's an Israeli company? maybe. Denims made some comment during the panel. Denims is in the F tier though. And it's just a brand of hummus that you guys all hate. I've never had it, I think. I'm not an expert in hummus. I can eat some hummus. I would probably eat the shitty hummus and not know that it's shitty hummus. No, I've had good hummus. But it's just a Habibi tier list, right? Like, you could explain this to Ethan. I don't know if you're getting the opportunity to explain it to Ethan. We'll talk about that a bit more. But I think, AB, you realize that the tier list is not racist. You realize that the sword that Ethan first said, they didn't deliberately pick that sword and then turned it into they deliberately picked that sword. Right? And used it as the main argument why Hassan is anti-Semitic. You know Hassan is not anti-Semitic, right? You know Denims is not anti-Semitic. You probably know that Frogan is not anti-Semitic. So when you see these videos being made where they show receipts about Ethan and Hila, you do realize that they're right? I mean, if you have a working brain, you notice this stuff. You see how messed up it is. Hila can still make a comment about her time in IDF and being in occupied territory and going along with one of the nightly raids because she was bored. She can still talk about that stuff, but we also know that she recently said that she's proud that she served, and she kind of looks down on people that don't serve. We've seen clips of them making fun of the more religious people that are exempt from having to serve. If you research it, it's not that difficult to get out. You can get out, which is why she mentioned that if the second job was boring, she would try to get out. So many years have passed and there is zero reflection. Like, the reflection is just like, I mean, yeah, we have to defend ourselves, right? So we do raids. The video that was just uploaded about Hila Klein, that one will go viral. That one will get millions of views because it's just so, it's good. But someone finally made it, the video, big compilation about Hila. And I think a lot of people were not willing to discuss it because, well, she's a girl. That plays a role. But also, it's Ethan charging at people, right? But it's Hila making some really stupid comments. I'm thinking of other stuff that has come up. But when you say, you guys are just, like, about Anthony, you're like, you're so snark-brained, or you're getting all your sources from snark. Like, dude, you know the tier list was not racist or anti-Semitic. You know. You know that raiding in Ramallah is not chill. You know that she didn't really say, like, she kind of is sad that she did that, and now she looks differently at it. You know. She's not saying that. Should people bother you for stuff that she has done so many years ago? She's actively saying stuff that is really messed up. And also Ethan is actively harassing people. You know that what he did with Hassan was just harassment. I don't know if you... Like, I know you know. But, like, portraying him as an anti-Semite, getting those people banned for 30 days from the tier list. You know that Instagram guy where you identified where the Wienermobile or something was, so people knew what his location was approximately, and then you were like, oh, come on, it's just an Oscar Mayer car or whatever. Like, no, when you're mentioning that, obviously you're helping Ethan. But also, it's pretty messed up what Ethan did there, right? Because Hila got a tattoo. It was an Israel tattoo. Very obvious. Like, it's basically the flag. Like the star, and it's blue. So it is a reference to Israel. Fine. But don't be surprised when the genocide is happening with that flag planted on the tanks, and you're aware of all of this. We've seen the pictures of burning people alive in the university and in the hospital. That one, the last one, there was a guy like sitting at his desk and he was burning. that Al Jazeera documentary. Like, AB, you've seen it, right? You mentioned that on stream, you watched it. Remember that one war crime where the guy was sent back to the hospital to convince people to get out? And then in such a short amount of time in the documentary, you kind of start feeling like you know the guy. And then you see him in the blue outfit and you're like, the fuck, it looks so weird. Like, okay, so they forced him to wear like one of these patient outfits. Because I think they show you some pictures of him like being a kid, being like free. They sent him back to the hospital and then he had to convince everyone to get out. And then people were too scared. So he came back alone and they killed him. That really broke me. I think about that war crime like almost every day. Do you think H3 Podcast is doing it justice by including the Sheryl Sandberg documentary that has been debunked? One of the guys she's interviewing is, there's some guy who has claimed to have been a hero like all over Israel, which an Israeli TV channel found out that it's all a lie. He's used as the witness for that same Sheryl Sandberg documentary that Ethan is promoting with his content nuke. You probably don't like the Sheryl Sandberg documentary. You know it's bullshit. Are you familiar with Zaka and the fact that they have like made up shit? You know where all these fables are coming from about 40 kids? You know, Ethan also said that thing, right? The beheaded part, I think he kind of left out, but like he still said 40 babies. It's like one, right? One small kid, if I'm not mistaken, on that day. You're aware of the Hannibal Directive, right? You've seen the chopper shoot at the cars going to the wall, to the gates, trying to get back to Gaza, and the choppers do not know who's in that car. Hostages might be in the car. We know that Gallant has said, I have given, at several locations, given them the Hannibal Directive. So you know that that is something that happened, which is really messed up. They don't talk about that stuff, right? They don't, right? It's just the Palestinians. So I do still want to react to your video. But there's a lot of messed up stuff revolving around like H3. And people are upset with H3 because he's also attacking people based on nothing. He's calling people anti-Semites who are not anti-Semites. He said in his debate with Sam, even Sam Cedar told him, like, dude, stop conflating the two things. He was upset. We don't really see Sam Cedar getting that upset, right? He was quite emotional. He even had to say out loud that he didn't want to get too emotional because he was really upset. Sam seems like a nice guy, right? Like, you would probably want to chill with him if he was there in the studio. But he does always the remote interviews. Regardless. Probably woke you up a little bit, I think. Or maybe you are already aware. But Sam said, like, hey, just because, like, the statement from Hassan about, like, if you ever looked positively at the state of Israel, blah, 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 you're like a Nazi, right? He said something like that. So Ethan, again, doesn't care about what's said before and after. And then Ethan is like, this is anti-Semitic because, well, based on a poll, I forgot the name of the poll. I've looked at the polls. By the way, he talks about diaspora, but like these are polls for Jews in the US, not the entire world. So around 70% would be considered a Zionist, right? I think Ethan is wrong. Like, Ethan is right about that number. Like, around 70% is really positive about Israel. So Ethan says when Hassan says something like that, it's anti-Semitic. But just the fact that 70% of Jews in America think something It's not based on their Jewishness that he's saying that they're Nazis, because Sam explains there's like Kufi or whatever, there's like evangelicals, so there's more people. It's not just Jewish people. But yeah, then Ethan says, well, because it's 70%. What percentage is it, AB? Like, is it 70? Is it 65? Is it 50? Like, if at least 50 of this group, then it is targeted at that group? Like, Hassan is not making an actual policy, right? It's not important. He's upset. But it's not anti-Semitic. It's not. And you are working for someone that is putting that label on stuff that is not anti-Semitic. And you know weaponizing anti-Semitism is pretty messed up. Remember when he made fun of the student protest? He was like, oh, look at these guys. They're like in such luxurious position, like so spoiled, and like, and then they go protesting. Like, what do they know? Like, I lived in Israel. They didn't live in Israel. What do they know? They have no idea about this entire war. Right? Not understanding why people don't want to call it a war. Ela probably doesn't agree on it being a genocide, right? Ethan has, like, we've seen several clips where Ethan is saying, like, I agree to these things, and then Ela is like, no, I don't. We've seen that as well. So we know there is a difference between the two. Remember that time when Ela got a message from an artist saying, like, I can't collaborate with you guys. I don't want to be associated with that brand, but thank you for considering me. And Ela turned it into, it's only because I'm Israeli. And Ethan jumped on it. They were thinking of like doxing that person, giving their name, so the H3 community can go harass them. Remember that one? I remember that one. You know it's not anti-Semitic to say I don't want to be associated with your brand, right? Like, all the stuff that I said up to this point could not be a valid reason for someone to not want to associate themselves with your brand. When you're saying like serving for the IDF is good, Ethan said IDF is a terrorist organization during the debate with Hassan. I don't think Ela agrees on that. So there's different opinions there, but even Ethan's opinion is pretty messed up, and Ela is like, beyond, she can't be saved. Honestly, I don't know if she can be saved. She's in too deep. But yeah, there is a Taylor Swift Stan account that refused to serve, right? So many years later, and Ela does still not get it. Doesn't even live there anymore. But yeah. Who do they think they are to share their opinion? Why is Hassan so opinionated? It bothers her that Hassan is so opinionated about the conflict. Remember that time when they talked about Hassan going to Gaza, making fun of it? They're not going to target Hassan, and then you said, they might. You laughed. But you are serious, right? You realize that hundreds of journalists have been killed. Shireen Abu Akleh, the journalist that Hassan was crying over, talking about her burial, that they couldn't even move her casket from one place to another. Like, they got attacked while carrying the casket. I don't think he was fake crying. I think Ethan cried there as well. There is just such a long list of stuff that people are upset about. Even if you haven't done these things, you're associating yourself with a podcast that have done these things. Right? The list is really, really long. Like, I could go on for hours. There's a reason why there's so much content about this. So now we're going to react to your video.
Here, and everything was perfect. And then I realized that all my socials had a bunch of comments from people saying that I call anti-genocidal Arabs barbaric. And
Okay, so again, you're zooming on something that you might have done or whatever. It's not really the point. But let's see. I do believe there is some place where you get upset. So we will try to find the transcript. I'm not going to accuse you of something. I don't think you called them all barbaric. What you did was you showed the clip and you said, congratulations. You made it easier. Zionists love you because you made it easier for people to convince other people that Arabs are barbarians. Let's go.
I'm sure they love you as an example of us Arabs being fucking barbaric.
You're an example of us Arabs being barbaric. So, Anthony yelling and cursing at you is an example of Arabs being barbaric. So it's barbaric for him. It's not a great statement, right? You didn't create a distance between the term barbaric and Anthony. You said you're an example of us being barbaric. So you're linking him to that.
Every fucking person on the internet, every person in the world wants to prove that we're nothing but fucking barbaric animals.
The Zionists mostly, yes. Some Nazis as well, yes.
You're doing a great job, man. You're doing a great
You're doing a great job. He's upset. It's not a great argument.
job. I will continue to defend you and try to steer away from that narrative.
So I think there is some valid criticism for this. Let's see how you respond.
I was like, okay, which moron made a video today? For something that insane, I knew it had to be, without even really looking into it, Bad Empanada.
Let me talk about Bad Empanada and his video game thing, because I was actually watching that live. It was really edgy. It's kind of brilliant. I get why people think it's messed up, because he's like saying, oh, let me show you I'm going for an assistant. Ila was an assistant. The game is on Steam. People can buy it, and it's like, for the first time, a video game, a shooter where you are a Palestinian and you're shooting IDF terrorists, right? Ethan agreed that they're terrorists, so I'm using his terms. If Hila or anyone else goes to Bad Empanada and says, that's messed up, he will say, what is more messed up? To go on a raid in Ramallah, in occupied territory, or shoot at assistants in a video game? That is not banned in any way. Yeah, the raid in Ramallah is actually harming people, right? She talked about how they went into the house, and you can already imagine them. They're going into the house. Abdul, can you imagine being part of that raid? I would assume that your conscience would like catch up on you and say like, what am I doing? Right? But also like, you were not the one going on that raid. But after so many years, and Hila even knows you, like, no reflection, no critical thought, nothing.
For those who don't know, Bad Empanada is this dude who likes to pretend to be the Joker. Like, he has everything planned out, and he's doing all
He's edgy. He has receipts.
these elaborate plans to take people down. But in actuality, he's nothing but a big fat pussy. I mean, excuse my language, I don't know how else to put it. But
Not everyone is afraid of getting sued, right? Like, what is this suing people? Like, people are allowed to criticize each other. You can actually have a normal conversation with the Bad Empanada. He will not yell over you. You can just have a conversation with him. I know Ethan and Neela probably don't want you to have a conversation with him. But like the people that follow him, I've seen his streams. I've seen him doing these videos. He actually researches stuff. And he shows clips. He shows evidence. And then you can hold on to the gaming thing that he did. But yeah, he knows that if someone confronts him about that being messed up, he will say, what is worse, this or the Raider? So even if you do it and you are in a debate with him, that is how he will respond. And then you will say, I'm not that person. And then he will say, you align yourself with that person. You're a producer on their show. You actually are on stage because you have a mic and there's a camera pointed at you as well. So you can actually chime in. So obviously not out of the blue you're going to say this, but well, you could put out a tweet and say, you know what, guys? I do think it's messed up. I do think it's unfortunate. Would you lose your... Yes. Probably yes. We'll talk about that more later. Let's go.
He's a joke. He tries to act like he's this overlord who has everything planned out, but essentially he's just a little bitch who does whatever he wants. He harasses people, and he lives in Argentina where he...
Ethan has been harassing Hassan for like more than a year. Ethan has been deplatforming pro-Palestinian speakers. Like, yeah, you can say this stuff about other people, but not about your boss, which I understand because he's your boss.
can get away with
But do you understand why people are upset?
doing these types of things and not deal with any type of repercussions. All right, bud. You want to go, mommy? Say bye to Rocco. I don't want to talk too much shit while he's here. Say bye.
How is that a puppy when it looks 150 years old? I do not understand.
In his new video on his channel, blah, 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 blah.
So yeah, he made a video and he is very, very edgy with his messages and stuff, like the tweets. But he said he called anti-genocide Arab barbaric. You did call Anthony an example of an Arab being barbaric. You did mention that. So let's see.
Blah. AB, you'll now be dealt with directly rather than peripherally unless you delete this video and publicly apologize. Okay, let me be clear about this. Listen here, you dumbass, you fucking moron. You have no authority, you have no power, you have no leverage. You're nothing but a little bitch hiding behind the internet talking shit. You do nothing but dox and harass
We
people.
will check
I don't know
what
who
you
you're talking
said.
to. You don't know where I'm from. I'm not afraid of you. I'm not intimidated by you. Your tactics are so hilarious to me. I find it cringe that people fall for your shit of trying to act like the Joker. And anytime you get any sort of pushback,
You guys edited the video of him and put music below it or whatever. I think it was kind of entertaining, and I do agree with everything Madame Banana has said to Ethan and Hila. He's right about all of that stuff. She did mention that she got bored with her first desk job and asked for a different job and would try to get... Like, I can recite all of the shit that they have done. Why? Because he has shown the videos. So you're portraying him as this psycho, and you're completely disregarding all the valid criticism that he has shared. And then when you attack him like that, he will attack back. He's the type of guy that will attack back. He doesn't care. He knows what he can do without getting banned on the platforms. Same as Ethan and Ila, right? Especially Ethan.
you want to cry like a little baby and play victim and pearl clutch. It's hilarious. I will be suing this person. I'm doing this. Fuck you. Go cry about it, little...
The person that is talking like that is mostly Ethan, right?
bitch. And I'm just gonna start it on you. Oh, and by the way, don't get too excited. This will be the one and only time I respond to you. I try to stay quiet for so long because people say this dude is insane. He's a pussy. And I've learned that pretty clearly throughout these past couple months. You give him any little push...
If he's a pussy, why aren't you guys willing to debate him? Get Ethan to talk to him. You can talk to him. You know that he has the receipts. Everything that I said up to this point, you can multiply that by 5. Then you'll have the correct amount of receipts that we have about Elon and Ethan. Everything that they have said.
back and, oh my God, you touched me. You did this. He just makes up shit. Anything he can because he's a coward. You're a fucking coward. You're a joke. And I love knowing that you're going to see this footage and have a little bitch fit and cry and scream and threaten and post your Instagram stories. Oh, I'm so afraid. Let me show you what I said in response to this.
Let's
You'll
see.
be dealt with directly. Who the fuck are you little
We just watched it and you said Anthony was an example of an Arab being barbarian.
shit. This was my
Barbaric.
response to the Reddit post where I initially saw his community.
The only thing this dude can, yeah, blah, blah, you're such a tough guy. I'm not afraid. I'm not afraid of you both. I would box you, Ethan, throw in Dan, and the Zach at the same time. Like, dude, it's so childish.
Community post. Laugh my ass off. The only thing this dude could do that scares me is breathe his shit-smelling breath near my face. Just another prime example of how disingenuous nut jobs like this are. In the video, I said that no matter how much nasty shit Melhouse says about me, I will continue to defend him from the false narrative of the world, which is us Arabs are barbaric animals. But again, these people do not care.
So, just another prime example of how disingenuous nut jobs like this are. In the video, I said that no matter how much nasty shit Milhouse says about me, I will continue to defend him from the false narrative of the world. Let's go back to that video.
Welcome, fucking barbaric animals. Barbaric.
I get that you said some other stuff, like people are zooming in, right? How you're zooming in on what people are saying and then leaving other stuff out. Like, Anthony said more stuff before he got really upset, right? You're leaving that part out. Ethan is leaving parts out, right? He's the master of leaving parts out. He's like the part out leaver. Like, you're all doing it. Bad Empanada is showing like more complete receipts than all of you guys combined, right?
As every fucking person on the internet, every person in the world wants to prove.
And also, like, Anthony is just reacting to entire videos. He's winging it, yeah. Ethan, I think, only did like 17 minutes, and then he went home and studied the video and then really had shitty takes. CPS thing, you and I both know that Ethan himself said they all have Giardia, and you get it by ingesting poop, and Dan said, I hope I don't get it. He's like, don't worry, you have to ingest my poop. Like, we know that he shared those details, right? We also know that Ethan said, like, the CPS call was from someone from, like, close to the family and someone from the house. And then suddenly it was one of those communities that have done it, right? And you know that your H3 community is saying, Denim's called CPS. I told people to call CPS. Nobody told anyone to call CPS. So you know that Ethan was oversharing. That's the thing. You know all of this. So you know the criticism towards Ethan and Hila is valid. And then people are attacking you for being complicit by just sitting there and not challenging them. But we'll talk about that more. But
we're nothing but fucking barbaric animals. You're doing a good job, you know. I'm sure Zionists love you. I'm sure they love you as an example of us Arabs being fucking barbaric.
They love you as an example of us Arabs being barbaric. I'll give you the benefit of the doubt and I'll listen to the next part.
Every fucking person on the internet, every person in the world wants to prove that we're nothing but fucking barbaric animals. You're doing
They love you as an example of
great job, man. You're doing a great job. I will continue to defend you and try to steer away from that narrative. You're welcome.
Okay, so you do say this. You're making it very easy for them to use you as an example. You could have chosen these words a bit more carefully, right? They love you as an example of an Arab being barbaric, right? And then you can be clipped out. I don't think you deliberately, I don't think this is your Hassan Abi 9/11 comment. I don't think this is your Frogan Veterans PTSD statement. I don't think this is your Destiny mow all those protesters down statement with BLM protest, right? You're not the type of person, but you can recreate the video. Regardless, I don't care. I don't think you think that they're barbarians, right?
What else?
All right, so let's go.
Drama is more important than Palestine to them. I said, free Palestine, F anyone trying to lie about it or silence me. And then, I had no need to prove myself. This is just, I feel important for people in the audience to see. I said, this is just one of countless examples of texts I get from friends and family on the daily.
So someone sent you a text that does not agree that there is any valid criticism on Ethan, right? Are they aware of all the criticism of Ethan? Are they? Of the raid in Ramallah? 2.6 million. What is that going to do? What's that going to do? Look at these people. Spoiled, privileged people protesting in Columbia University. Look at them. Remember when they made fun of those people? Does this person know that they made fun of students protesting the genocide? Let's read it. I just watched your YouTube video. It was well said. I love how these people just want you to raise hell without thinking. Kind of an extreme way of putting it. Quit your job because they aren't in your position. We're telling you to quit your job because we're not in your position. Like, we would never quit our jobs if my boss, people work for tech companies that have a link to Israel. But that's a part of it. It's a big part. But when you look at entertainment, one of the biggest podcasters, right? Reaching a lot of people, misinforming a lot of young people. You're aware of that. This person seems to be aware of that. I don't know. Kind of seems like this person doesn't really care. Looks like it's from a chat group because I see 3 pictures there. So it's a group of friends. They are so brave and willing to roll the dice when they are gambling with your chips. There can be no valid criticism. Whenever someone gives you valid criticism, they are gambling with your chips. It's your chips, AB. You should never listen to people that criticize you. Even if you did it and lost your job, none of them would help you. Disagree. Mike from PA said he would help you. Anthony will help you. You can message him and tell him let's not share these DMs. Or just have a call with him and say, hey, off the record, can we talk? He's in the US. He's going back, so you probably don't have time to meet. But like, you can just have a call and say, hey, let's give each other the word that we are not recording or whatever. And just talk. Probably will like each other after that. But if you would tell him, like, I can't, I want to leave, but like, I need help. Thank you, Ethan Klein. You are my best friend. You are the rent payer. He is the rent payer for you, but he's also paying their rent now. Man, I'm gonna eat all these chocolates. But I can promise you that he will help you. As soon as you leave, everyone is going to be rooting for you because of the reason why you left. If you leave because you think he's doing more harm than positive, at the bottom of the scale, he's making it worse by spreading misinformation from Sheryl Sandberg. Sheryl Sandberg is that same lady that is a billionaire that was crying in the documentary and saying, I asked my friend, will you hide me when they come for me? In her $1 billion house, right? Ethan has a big house. But like, really, Sheryl Sandberg is afraid that people will come after her? Let's put ourselves in the shoes of Palestinians. I don't have to say all of this to you, AB, right? You understand.
People actually have family.
They wouldn't be able to do any better. I would not have worked if I was in your position. And I think the number of, not even Middle Eastern or Arab people, the number of people that would never be able to associate their name with the H tree. And I get that you started there. You made a video debunking, like reacting to Gokunaru, who made a better video, right? His critique was valid, and then Ethan couldn't react to it. He did a really shitty job in reacting to it. Gokunaru was not willing to edit out the last part where he shot Ethan, so the video was removed by YouTube, which didn't help him with the algorithm and stuff. Gokunaru was better at that, right? I have not seen your video. I'll promise you, I will look for it. I couldn't find it. I will look at your video. How surprising, Ethan hired you and not Gokunaru, the person that was actually able to criticize him. And you defended Ethan. I will watch that video, but I've seen the Gokunaru video and it was good. It was really good. Not everyone has to be really good with making videos. Maybe you're just an entertaining person. You can just stream and stuff like that. But I know the entire background and everything, right? But to say no one would be able to do something better in your position.
In the Middle East, people don't actually.
Let's listen.
Lost people who actually care. This person and I said, I just watched your YouTube video. It was well said. I love how these.
This person does not care about what harm H3 is doing. Deplatforming pro-Palestinian voices, right? Right? They don't care. They don't care that anti-Semitism is being weaponized, that people are being called anti-Semites that are not anti-Semites, that have Jewish friends, right? These people, ask these people, this person, hey, the podcast I'm working for is spreading misinformation, Hasbara, convincing people of shit that didn't happen, calling people anti-Semites that are not anti-Semites, calling Jewish people that are speaking up against a genocide token Jewish people like Madlib. Ask them what they think. Maybe because you're family or a close friend, they will say, dude, it does not matter. Do whatever the fuck you need to do. Make that money. Fuck it. Yeah, those people exist. Lots of people are not like those people. Maybe you have them in your family, in your friends circle, I don't know.
People just want you to raise hell without thinking and quit your job because they aren't in your.
We're not thinking. Really think I can't think? Really think I'm not capable
position.
of thinking?
They're so brave and willing to roll the dice when they're gambling with your chips. Actually, I got another one.
We're upset with what Ethan is doing and feel like it should stop. He's not getting any pushback from the crew. You're the crew. You're not just working backstage. It's not weird for people to say, hey, considering the fact that you are pro-Palestine and you're against the genocide, you are connecting yourself to these statements because you are working for them. Their podcast is spreading misinformation. It's used to harass people. And all you can say is like, you guys are just snark. You've been snarked. It's just a snark, man. You got snarked. Yeah, you got snarked. Yeah, you got snarked. When Ela was saying, I mean, she was responding to another conversation that was happening in her head. Right? You guys just got snarked, man. Watch out for the snark. Don't do too much snark, guys.
From my uncle, which was very sweet. He is probably who I look up most of this world, him and my father. And he said, my aunt sent it to me. She said, we are proud of you. I'm sorry you are going through this. Your uncle said, all that is around you is no match for all that is within you. Continue to show support for your people, and congrats on the dog. That's why my uncle's a fucking man. He is the man.
Continue to show support for your people. You are working for a podcast, and I said all of those things, right? You know, misinformation, weaponizing anti-Semitism. Sam Cedar called it out as well.
I love him. Again, these people, I said in my last...
All you need is just a couple of people to compliment you and say, hey, you're doing the right
these people
thing.
have to make up this narrative that I'm losing all my friends and family. And yeah, I find it hilarious.
Nobody wants you to lose all your friends and family.
So anyways, I said, these trolls can be disappointed with me. They can criticize me, but the moment they twist shit like this, let it be known that these are bad faith actors. They're unhinged and are one of the greatest weapons against the movement. They're used as examples to try...
Fucking pussy.
You're not responding to the actual critique, right? But let's see.
People are trying to frame it like he's saying he's going to R-word my mom and sister. That's not what he's saying. That's not what he's saying. He's being an asshole, but I don't need that extreme. I don't need that. I don't need you guys to be that extreme. Yes, he said something like, the translation is something like, fuck your sister, fuck your mom, whatever. By the way.
Why are you not just being the more mature person here and saying, you know what? Yeah, he cursed at me. I know he's upset. I know where it's coming from. Because did you only listen to him cursing at you, or did you actually see him react? Did he try to have a conversation with you? Did he send you DMs? You know there is more than just cursing at you, right? Like, you know that, right? My dude, you know that, right?
Millhouse, if you're watching, someone was in my chat and wanted us to talk and said, give him some grace. He's going through something with his mom. I said, I don't know what's going on with his mom, but I'll pray for her. I wish her well. And the next time I see a clip of you, you're just saying, fuck my mom. But that we're not...
Audience, I'm giving you guys the benefit of the doubt by thinking that there's no way possible y'all are that stupid. That's stupid. There is no way possible that you could have seen that and thought that I was saying that anyone who is any Arab who's anti-genocidal is barbaric. Because it is so clear what I'm saying. I am saying I'm defending him. I'm defending him because I don't need people to weaponize other Arabs against me. Yes, he said nasty shit. He said fuck you. I don't need people to say that he was implying that he wanted to R-word my mom and sister. I don't need that. But you took that and you want to spin this narrative that I was saying that all Arabs who are anti-genocidal are barbaric. What a piece of shit you are. What a fucking moron. Actually, I don't know. Choose one. Are you a piece of shit or are you a dumbass? Because those are the only two...
Yeah, they love you as an example of an Arab being barbaric, and then you did follow that up by saying, like, I'm pushing back against that narrative, blah, blah, blah. It's not about this, man. You don't get why he's actually criticizing you.
Options possible. You want to attack me for defending an Arab who has talked shit about me by saying that I'm saying that all Arabs who are anti-genocidal are barbaric. What a fucking disgusting piece of shit you are. You fucking moron. I'm not afraid of you. I'm not going to back down. You're a joke. You're a little fucking crybaby. Anytime anyone tries to say anything to you, you throw a little bitch fit. How disgusting. How disgusting. You want to criticize me, say I didn't say enough? I'm not saying enough. You want to say I'm a piece of shit for where I work? Say whatever the fuck you want. When the moment you twist something like this, especially when it's me defending an Arab, it shows how fucking disingenuous you are. And shame on you. And shame on anyone who believes it. And clip this, say I'm triggered, do whatever the fuck you want. I don't care. Just don't act like you give a fuck about Palestine. You care about internet drama.
It's quite the statement. So you're saying Bad Empanada does not care about Palestine. I disagree. I do think he cares. I think he's upset as well. I think what you're doing now is pretty messed up. I get being pissed off that people are changing stuff and pretending as if you said something, but you are completely disregarding everything that he has made, and he has a lot of videos with valid criticism for H3 and also valid criticism for Israel. Yeah.
And that's it. And that's it. Here, look at this comment. Where's the timestamp where you called brown people fucking barbarians so I can report you for it without watching? And of course, this person's username is radical individual. Wow. Oh, did I just dox someone? Did I just dox someone? Are you gonna fucking cry? Here, I'll dox someone. I'll dox everyone on the snark right now. You ready? I'll dox you, Bad Empanada, and everyone on the snark. You ready? You wanna know where you guys are located?
Dude,
right here on my fucking dick. You guys need to...
You know there's valid criticism, right?
Hop the fuck off. I just hope you record your reaction. That's all I hope. I hope I can see you losing it and crying like a little fucking baby. God, I know you will with community posts and whatnot, but it won't be as beautiful as just seeing you cry live. And this isn't the first time. Just to give, I'm not trying to go in on Millhouse. I'm over Millhouse, but let me just give you even more context to this specific situation. This is not the first time I've defended him after he said horrible shit either about me or about other people. For those of you who don't know, Mike from PA, this white dude from PA, was talking shit and saying that I am a disgrace to my people. I'm ashamed. They're ashamed of me. Whatever the fuck. And whatever the fuck. And
I don't know, like, if you're afraid of, like, saying something about me, I'm not gonna fucking come after you, bro. I'm powerless. So there's nothing that I can do to harm you.
Well, here, let me explain myself now. No, I'm not afraid to come after you. What I'm saying is I don't want to call out someone who's in Lebanon being actively bombed, no matter how much shit they talk about me. Even though previously I've seen you defend me, but like I said, the snark brain got to you too much.
The snark brain got to you too much. I was bored with my desk job. Like, incorrectly labeling stuff as anti-Semitism. You know the tier list was not anti-Semitic. What was Denim's doing in the F tier? You know he's bending the truth. You know he's saying stuff that is just messed up. You know that. There is a lot of valid criticism for Ethan. And he kind of went mask off with that fucking Arabs part in his debate with the Sun. Right? Portraying like the Nakba was... Like, you... God, dude. You know why people are upset with him.
House. I don't know if you'll see this clip. I want to say shame on you for me telling a white dude that he has no right to speak for me as an Arab. And then
I'm going to be very... I don't know what your age is. I'm clearly older than you.
Look at the camera and you say, well, as a Lebanese, I'm telling you...
I'll explain. The problem is the fact that what we were arguing about was him speaking on behalf of my people. And as I said, criticize me whenever you want. But when the specific argument is this white dude telling me how Arabs feel about me and speaking on behalf of Arabs is not okay. And then Millhouse jumped in and felt like he was going to be the Arab to co-sign that. And that was the problem. Yeah.
I don't see the problem. You're saying, hey, Mike from Palestine, PA is Palestine, state of Palestine. So Mike from Palestine is not allowed to criticize me. He has valid criticism for you. And then Anthony says, well, I'm Lebanese. I'm criticizing you. You're saying that's kind of, you're a piece of shit for doing that.
I'm glad that Mike from PA speaks about Palestine. God bless him. I thought he was a cool guy first. That's why I defended him. Every encounter we had.
I thought he was a weird guy until I found him because he was sharing his displeasure with the H3 podcast and stuff.
He was nice. He was asked about my family. I was like, oh, this guy's awesome. But then I found out later on he doesn't care. It's just about trying to use me to hurt people around me.
I do think he cares. Again, you're saying Bad Empanada does not care about Palestine. Mike from PA does not care about Palestine. Do you think Anthony cares about Lebanon? About those jets that are flying above his house? You probably realize that Anthony has a good reason to be pissed off with H3, right?
Trying to please everyone, but when you try to please everyone, you end up pleasing no one. Bro.
Who am I pleasing? Habibi, who am I pleasing?
You're keeping your boss happy.
I'm pissing off everyone. You go through my comments, you'll see.
It is true, like I said, that some of the H3 members in the chat are saying like AB should just shut up. It is true that some people are also defending you, but you don't seem to realize that those people are also fans of Ethan and H3 and don't think that they have done anything wrong.
Terrorist sympathizer. You'll see you work for a Zionist. You'll see Zionist. You'll see traitor. You'll see why you still defend Frogan. I am pissing off everyone.
Based on the definition that Ethan gave for Zionists in the debate with the Sun, do you think Ethan considers himself to be a Zionist? Realizing that, yes, he probably considers himself to be one based on his own definition because he doesn't want all those people to be kicked out, right? And then Palestinians to take over. If you take the wrong exit, they'll lynch you. Lila said Palestinians will lynch an Israeli if they get to him. You know what is happening in West Bank, right? Mowing the lawn, you know all of that. And Hila was doing raids. Or one raid. So there's a lot of stuff, right? Anthony's aware of that stuff. Why? Because he was a huge fan. He was a fan also because of you and Lina. Like, hey, there's two Lebanese people on the H3 podcast. I never cared about Ethan H3. I was too old. I always thought it was shitty content. iDubbbz videos were shitty content. So I don't have a bone in this fight.
Because I'm staying true to myself and what I believe. Like, I'm trying to keep everyone happy. Don't you think it'd be a lot easier just to pick an audience and just stick with it? Don't you think it would just...
You're not speaking up. You might lose your job if you speak up. True. But you know how messed up it is what Ethan and Ela are doing. You know.
Be easier to just sit there and let people talk shit about Frogan and not try to defend her?
While keeping the pro-Palestinian audience happy, you're not going to be able to do that.
Really defend Progan when Ethan is going on.
You
Something's
think?
got to give. At some point,
You think?
when it's...
And again, if this is not directed just towards Millhouse, this is everyone. If you truly believe that my workplace is spreading harmful views, isn't it better?
Yes. 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 We true. Yes. Yes. We all truly believe that they're doing more harm than doing any good. Like the $6,500 that Ethan donated, $2.5 million. What's that gonna do? What's that gonna do? $2.5 million. What are they gonna do with money? What are they gonna do with money then? Hey, I don't get it. Look at them protesting. Oh, look at you. You want a ceasefire. We all want ceasefire. Like, you've experienced all of that shit live, right? So yes, to answer your question, yes, we all agree that Ethan and Ela are pretty messed up in what they have been doing, getting people deplatformed, convincing Twitch that it was a racist, anti-Semitic tier list. What is Dennis doing in the F tier? AB, right? Why not come out and say, yeah, I don't think the tier list actually was racist. You would maybe lose your job. Yeah, it's very likely that you would lose your job. But okay, let's keep
For the cons, if I'm there to push back at all, even if it's not up to par with.
So you're saying, if you guys think that they're doing harm, don't you think it's better for me to stay there and push back? You're not pushing back. I've heard you sometimes like, okay, never mind. You're not really pushing back, right? And yeah, I know. Probably because they do not tolerate this. You know that Lena didn't want to not fight, right?
What you guys want, even if it's up, even if it's not enough, isn't it good to have me there? Like sincerely.
No. People are this upset, like relatively normal people, but you can see how upset they get because Anthony is not an asshole. Like in general, he's not an asshole, and you know that as well. If you follow him a little bit, yes, he gets a bit unhinged when he gets really upset. He's really upset. But he's approaching this also as a Lebanese person that really looked up to you and Lena because you were part of H3 and he's a huge fan of H3 and he was inspired to create his own podcast. Like he bought all the ugly children's clothing that Hila has designed or outsourced the design of. And I've seen all those examples where they copied shit. He's like very connected to you guys. He paid for your salary by buying that merch. They probably don't share the H3. Like are you getting any? No, you probably are not making anything out of the merch sales, right? Because it's not H3 merch. It's Hila Klein's Teddy Fresh merch. Is there H3 merch? Like normally with this type of thing, you would say, hey, it's you guys and the crew and everything. You guys have the H3 show. So one would assume that the merch for the show, you get some profits from that, or that you guys are integrated into the merch somehow. But like they're not doing that, right? And you probably, yeah, just a short tangent. But no, I don't think it's better to stay there. If you do not have, if you really can't push back, and Dan showed us how afraid he is. When Hassan sent him a clip and said, hey, Dan, can you show the clip? And Dan, instead of saying, hey, sure, he knew he was not supposed to just share the clip. So he sent it to Ethan and said, it's out of my control. That is how, to what degree Ethan is controlling people and not tolerating anyone stepping out of line. Which is probably why Lena also is not boxing, right?
I'm happy no matter what.
So no, when your wife cannot do the boxing event because of your job, it's kind of weird. Was no need for her to not do the boxing event. Really no need. Ian pulled out. You think it's fun for Ian to not be associated with the boxing event that he's super proud of, has organized now? This is the third time. Because of all the stupid drama, like you realize Ethan could have responded in a bit of a more normal way. You also realize that he could have just said, you know what, Ian, we'll invite you to the show and we'll have like a long talk. He would have come out of it better, way better. But he did not do that, right? So you know Lena had to pull from the match. You know that they're spreading misinformation. You definitely know this. You know that you can't really push back. Isn't it better for you to be there and try to push back, but actually don't push back? No.
Start shitting on Hassan every day, but you don't want.
People are upset with you because they realize that you're like not following your heart. That it's other reasons that is keeping you there.
To do that because you know that Hassan is a piece of shit anti-Semite. So down.
And by the way, the only
You know Hassan is not a piece of shit anti-Semite. You know that Ethan in the debate with Hassan said he's an anti-Semite. So you know that Ethan is incorrectly putting that label on Hassan. This is after the debate between Hassan and Ethan. So your boss is calling someone you look up to and think is a cool guy an anti-Semite. You know weaponizing anti-Semitism is pretty messed up, right? You know all of this. He's your boss, but you're part of that podcast and you're part of the crew and you're also one of the visible members of the crew that sometimes gets to say something on the podcast.
person.
No, I don't think you should stay.
Of all these people calling me out, that has said to leave the crew alone has been Hassan, just for the record. The only time I've ever heard Hassan talk about me or Lena, he said to leave us alone.
He's the biggest target of H3, right? Of Ethan and Hila. They hate Hassan the most, right? They blame him for everything. They blamed him for that artist not wanting to collaborate with Hila, which was immediately anti-Semitism, right?
That we're in a tough situation.
You know what I mean? You can't sit on 9 hours a week on a Hasbara Zionist podcast and then a couple hours on your solo stream. Like, yeah, but I'm pro-Palestine because I reacted to a Palestine video on my stream.
It's almost as if I'm trying to
That's exactly what you said at the beginning, by the way.
do what I can with what's in my control.
You know what is in your control? Deciding not to work somewhere where you're part of the problem. You're doing more harm by helping them with that podcast. You're becoming complicit. And you're just pushing all of that away from you by saying, you know what can I do? I'm doing whatever I can do. Which is pretty much nothing, right? It looks like, have you convinced Ethan not to do even more horrible stuff that we're not aware of? I don't think you can push back on Ethan's
My
idea.
stream, my social media accounts, I've been posting about Palestine nonstop. That is what I own. I don't.
You're saying the same thing as Anthony. You're saying that is not going to fix the complicity when you're part of a podcast that is spreading misinformation and stuff.
I don't know if you guys know that. I know you guys want me to be homeless. Listen, again, and I've said this before.
This is the part that I really wanted to react to. What are you talking about? I will be homeless. You also said, like, my wife will starve. You've been spending, I can see, right? Like, you've been spending. It's the two of you. So if one of you works, you can probably manage to pay for the house or whatever. Do you have to live in a very expensive apartment in a very expensive location? Well, you know what feels good? To not be complicit in spreading misinformation about the genocide, spreading misinformation about the Palestinians, spreading misinformation about other pro-Palestinian creators, getting them to be banned based on something that is not anti-Semitic, to just have a normal job.
Even if you accept your idea of what's going on and where I work, do you guys not understand that I'm not a doctor? I can't just
I'm an engineer. So yeah, I can't speak for you. I'm not in the same situation as you. I'm not a famous content creator. I barely get any views. Right? I get that. You don't have a degree to fall back on. You're a producer on the H3 show. You've learned a lot. You've learned a lot. You will be able to find something in production. The question is it going to be front and center? Are you going to be the face? Or are you part of the crew? Like, was it going to be another podcast where you're like semi-visible? That will be probably a bit more difficult to obtain. To find a podcast where you fit in like you fit in here. Like, do you really fit in, IB? Do you really fit in? Getting this exact same thing is probably going to be tricky. You probably do enjoy the attention that you're getting as well, right? Lena as well. Like, It's just true. Getting hundreds of thousands of views and people complimenting you, like I can see it below your videos. But those people don't think Ethan or Ela have done anything wrong. So you will not be homeless. You will find a job. Maybe it's more backstage, where you're not that visible. You can still work on the streaming stuff. See if you can grow that into something bigger.
The only time I've ever heard Hassan talk about me or Lena, he said, "Oh, you guys want me to be homeless." Listen, again, and I've
That's not the alternative, my dude.
said this before, even if you accept your idea of what's going on and where I work, do you guys not
I left a job that didn't make me feel good. I was not front and center, blah, blah, blah. But yeah, I'm glad I left. I'm very glad I left, considering the news that is coming out now.
understand that I'm not a doctor? I can't just transfer to another hospital. Do you guys understand that? Again, I'm not even saying I want to leave my...
You will find a job. You will make enough. You both have experience in the field. Lots of viewers. Put that on your resume. You will find a job. You don't need a degree. You've learned a lot. A lot. You probably had access to the stats and stuff like that. Maybe there's someone that is getting some traction now with their podcast and they're like, you know what? I need someone to do the audio and this and that or whatever, or help me with the production of videos. And you have good, Ethan is not doing most of the work, right? You guys are doing it. Like the editing and stuff.
My job or anything like that. I'm just saying, do you guys not understand that? Would it be more helpful if I'm homeless? Would that help? Would that help the cause? You want me to...
It sounds like you think that's the only
go stand
alternative.
on
You do know this sounds ridiculous, right?
Skid Row with the fucking...
Stand on Skid Row. That's what you think. As soon as you leave the job, you do realize that when you ridicule it to this degree and say, "Hey, if I don't work for H3 and spread misinformation, be complicit in spreading misinformation and labeling people as anti-Semites, videos I worked for is basically harassment towards other Arabs, pro-Palestinian voices, getting them banned from platforms and stuff like that." Like. If I don't do that, I will lose my job and end up on Skid Row. That's the only alternative.
You want me to take my Palestinian flag and say free Palestine? Then I can hold my head high. Then you'll be happy.
Dude,
You're offset.
that's a Herman Miller embodied. That's like rent for 1 month, right? I have the same chair. You have a Rolex. You'll be fine. You have saved up some money. You're not that stupid. So you will be fine for quite some time. You don't have to live somewhere where you need a really high-paying job. You will be more happy if you don't feel complicit. Right now, you do not feel complicit because you're saying the alternative is for me to go to Skid Row. Skid Row, complicit in labeling people as anti-Semites. Remember the Sam Cedar debate? There is a middle ground. You don't end up in Skid Row, dude. Don't be ridiculous. You're just exaggerating to make it seem like you don't have a choice. You do. You do. Anthony will help you. You can go on their show and talk. You probably have an NDA, so you can't say anything negatively about Ethan. But like, if you leave, everyone knows why you're leaving. Everyone will connect it to that. And things will turn around. And the question is, you think the people that sent you messages, they're like, oh no, they will not support you, blah, blah, blah. You know who will not support you? The H3 people. When you leave the podcast and you're speaking up and you're doing that already, but like, they realize how you're not part of H3. A lot of those positive comments, like the people that are following you now, like, yeah, members come and go. It's like a cult. It's like a cult. Ian was right. It is like a cult. Just watching the chat, it is like a cult.
That 2-hour stream that you're doing with 9 hours
Oh no, you guys are snark brains.
fucking work for fucking like a Zionist entity at this point, maybe. Like, you have to make a choice, my man. You have to make a choice. You can't play both sides.
I've made the choice to stay with people who treat me like a human being. That's my choice.
They treat you like a human being, but they label people as anti-Semites that are not anti-Semites. And you are down with that, right? You choose to, because they treat you like a human being. Is that the amount of respect that's it? You just need to be treated as a human being, like a random stranger in the street?
That's what I've decided.
of the field on the fucking genocide. You're not.
There was a point where I honestly considered going back home, and honestly was like, and nothing to do with the way I was being treated by anyone, but because of all the hate me and Lena have been getting. There was a short few months where I considered it, but then as time went on, and I seen how unirrational a lot of these people are, and I've seen how they.
We're very unirrational. All the critique that I mentioned, you think the critique about Ela and Ethan is all not valid? Don't you get why people are like making fun of you and getting upset with you when you're saying that these people are just weirdos? They have valid criticism. The tier list was not anti-Semitic, AB. You know that. But you worked on a video, you're connected to a video, a company that spread misinformation, got people banned from Twitch for 30 days because the ADL and some Congress weirdo got involved. You're a fan of the ADL? You want to align yourself with ADL? You think it was anti-Semitic? You think the sword was evidence of Hassan being an anti-Semite? Or the way he defended the sword in the debate with Ethan? That's like the big... You don't think Hassan is an anti-Semite, right?
They take things out of context. They just want to use me as a chess piece.
Everything is out of context. No, nobody wants to use you as a chess piece. It's not like you're our inside man and you're going to sabotage them. No. We're just wondering. Like, to me personally, like, honestly, I don't know you. I'm not Anthony, so I never looked up to you, right? Like, I'm just completely an outsider here, so I don't really care, to be very honest. That's why I can easily speak about this stuff. But, like, I think what they want is for you to just leave and not want to be associated with that bullshit. Which I understand. I understand. Because it's linked to a genocide. The misinformation, the weaponizing anti-Semitism, that's something that has increased since October 7, right? Everyone is an anti-Semite. The students are anti-Semites, right? Entire countries are anti-Semitic, right?
I'm going to walk away from what I've always wanted, which was to live out here, to be involved in YouTube. I'm going to walk away from my dream for people who are rational, who will, if it's not today,
Yeah, it's your dream. Like, I'm familiar with these arguments. It is your dream to work for YouTube, right? Like, be a YouTuber or work on a YouTube channel like that. Yes, that is spreading misinformation, labeling people as anti-Semites that are not anti-Semites. Yada, yada, yada. There's like a huge list of things that they have done. So it's not just working on your dream. You are both working for the same company, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, that's already not a great idea. There's a reason why they say don't get a relationship with someone at work. You're both relying on the same people that are downplaying shit that is happening, associating themselves with weirdos. You're being associated with those weirdos as well.
Tomorrow will drop me like nothing if I'm not 100% in agreement with them. I don't want that. I don't want these people in my audience. I don't want these people as my friends. Like, I don't know how hard it is to understand that, like, y'all are just not reasonable. And you'll never...
Going on raids in Ramallah, occupied territory, never reflecting on it and saying it was a bad thing, but actually being proud. People criticizing that are not being reasonable.
Never make progress by being insane. And again, I'm not directing this at Millhouse. This is to everyone.
And then I'm the enemy. And then you only have smoke for me, Millhouse. I'm the fucking problem in this. But you think, was I the first one to fucking call you out?
No, but your opinion was the only one that I actually even cared about. Because you're in Lebanon. You're a dude who's in the middle of this. So I
don't think you really care about his opinion. Because you've already made it very clear. It's my dream job. If you guys think that they're doing harm, which you seem to doubt, I think you know that they're doing harm. Isn't it better for me to be part of it so I can push back when you can't actually push back? No. Your arguments for why you, like, the critique is not valid and blah, blah, everyone is crazy. Like, yeah, Noor is crazy. Karine is crazy as well. They're not normal people. They don't dislike they don't have good reasons to dislike Ethan and Hila.
cared about your opinion. I don't care about Mike from PA or any of these other fucking haters, any of these bad empanadas who are off the hinges. I thought from the...
Am I off the hinge?
I saw of you, you were being understanding and you were being kind to me, Alina. But again, I think the snark got to you. Yes, Habiba, you think that
The snark. You sniff too much snark. Dude, shut up with snark.
I'm afraid of you, or like why I was hesitant to talk about you in the first place? Yeah, because I don't want to start with you. I don't like the way that people weaponize Arabs against each other. I don't like it. And that's why I defended you also with this most recent thing, me calling you barbaric. No, I was not calling you barbaric. I was defending you. I was defending you against people falsely saying that you wanted to R-word my mom and sister.
You're gonna keep using this as a gotcha, right? saying congratulations, they love you as an example of an Arab being barbaric, but I will push against that narrative. You're kind of telling him like, hey, you're making it very easy for them to sell the idea that Arabs are barbaric. But they can't get upset. People get upset.
Because I don't think that's right. Even if
You know what is barbaric? Shall we discuss what is barbaric at the moment? It has been ongoing for 1.5, almost 2 years.
were talking shit about me and Lena. See, as Arabs, we tend to have a problem with being divisive. It's the reason that Israel's able to even do what it does when it's surrounded by so many Arab countries. Well, that in the back of the United States, but
Hila disagrees with everything you say. Hila disagrees probably with literally anything you would say about Israel, right? Probably. Ethan disagrees probably about, like, depends on how the wind is blowing. You know, if someone that is quite popular, like Hassan, pushes back during a debate, he will admit that the IDF is a terrorist organization. What do you think Hila will think? You know that Ethan has kind of moved on a lot of positions after living there for 5 years. But it's not just what they said back then. It's about the stuff that they have been doing and saying recently as well.
yeah, we really do have a problem being divisive, and I do not want to contribute to that, even if I disagree with people. And I'll get hate for saying this, but whatever.
Even if a white guy said it, we agree.
And that's why I said this. I was like, if you're not gonna listen,
I'm going to skip this. Honestly, I haven't seen the ending of the video. I think this video is already too long.
Lebanese, by the way, I'm done being charitable to you two pieces of shit. Okay, I'm done being charitable. Fuck you guys. And Charlie.
Yeah, like,
My video, giving and defending. I do not like the
listen
idea
to
of
the
people
last one.
weaponizing us against each other. I appreciate people defending me, since,
let me see what else.
and I was defending you. I don't know what to say other.
So you feel like your hands are tied. Listen, I don't want to go and live on Skid Row. You're being ridiculous. You're exaggerating. It's not true that you will end up at Skid Row. You're saying, well, if you guys had a job like that family member or friend that sent you a message like, oh, they're just gambling with your coins, my dude. I don't care. Do whatever you want. But don't be surprised if people are like, fuck this guy. Yeah, you're working for two people. I'm not going to list everything that they did, but you're pretending as if they didn't do all of that. You're pretending as if you agree with them on the tier list. Be open. Just say like, hey, I don't agree with this stuff that the guy is saying. Obviously, if you speak up to the entire world on Twitter or on your own show, or you go on a podcast where you're interviewed, you say, you know what? I disagree with pretty much everything that Ethan and Hila have been saying. Yeah. The only way where that will fly is if Ethan tolerates critique. The problem is Ethan, and now also Hila, because she has kind of been molded into this version of Hila that cannot deal with critique and stuff like that. I don't know how Hila was, what type of person she was before Ethan. I almost pressed the stop button. It's mostly Ethan, right? He's taking charge. But the only scenario where you could go on other, like, wouldn't you like that? To go on other podcasts and talk about stuff, and then, like, you're kind of like going back and forth with Ethan and Hila. You're getting upset, they're getting upset, and then you guys make up, and then it's fine, and you're still part of the cast, and like everyone knows, like, oh, AB is an Arab, and he's very critical of Israel, so whenever that is brought up, like, he's very critical of Ethan and really pushes back, and Ethan gets upset, but he allows that to play out. And AB goes to other podcasts, and then you say, well, this is the amazing part of our dynamic, right? Like, I can just be myself, and Ethan understands, and even though we have completely different perspectives, like, when it's certain topics, I can push back on stuff, and I'm like, I'm not budging, and I'm glad that they allow me to, like, that's not the reality you're living in right now, right? Why? Because Ethan doesn't think that would benefit him. Ethan doesn't like someone else taking the light, you know? He doesn't want to share the light, like he wants to be the king. Even Anthony kind of like does that to a degree. I have to admit. Like, if you're not at your house to do the podcast and you're like maybe not streaming for a week or whatever, let the interns do a stream. Let them do a stream. What is the worst thing that can happen if Noor or Kareen or Nadim, one of those other people, just does a stream? They get less viewers, like people unsubscribe. Like, pretty sure that a lot of people are actually mostly subscribed because of the other crew members, right? They're quite funny. Like the cursing that Kareen does, the soft voice that Noor has. Like, even Anthony is like, but I'm the show, right? They're like crew members. He set it up like an H3 podcast. It's kind of, I do think that they are, let me make this clear, like they do get a lot more time to shine. Ethan is very hesitant with that stuff. Maybe talk to some people, see if you can collaborate with some people on doing another pod. Maybe just tell Ethan, like, hey, you know what? I'm planning to do a podcast once a week, a video podcast with this person once a week, so I can work on my own stuff as well. Do you think he will say, like, no, that you can't do that? Because let's be honest, right now you don't have a lot of viewers. You're not big, right? Who am I to say you're not big in streaming world or whatever? Because I barely have any viewers, and I don't stream, by the way. But it's not something for you to fall back on right now. But if you work on something else on the side, that is also a dream job, that doesn't make you enough money, maybe do a podcast together with Lena. Would that be allowed? The problem is, when you have an audience of a significant size, these things are still in a lot of minds. Like your potential audience, like you probably want them to care about Palestine and stuff like that. So if you talk about that, yeah, maybe people start clipping you constantly and sending it to Ethan and saying, hey, he's disagreeing here with what you said, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, maybe there is a risk. And Ethan will be like, hey, I can't have this. So he will proactively say, like, no, let's not do that. What I'm trying to say is that there are a lot of different options. It's the two of you. Have at least one person get a different job. Don't work for the same employer. Is it really a dream job? At a certain point, it's kind of holding you back as well. And it's burning bridges. With time, the number of people that just do not want to associate with you because they feel like you are at this point complicit will increase and grow and grow. And there's a lot of people that you cannot get back anymore. And you seem to be fine with that. Well, that's up to you, dude. That's up to you. I don't care what you do, but stop pretending as if you do not know that there is actually valid criticism. I do not think you're too stupid to realize that there's valid criticism. I need to go walk the dog. Well, I don't know if you're watching this, but hopefully you learned something from it. If not, if I'm wrong, let me know. Bye, guys.